We're live. YouTube. Welcome to May 18's first ever live, the first of many, if I have it my way. Thank you for joining me. I put a note. You said, more lives. Jessica, I think you're the first on. Good job. That was so fast. It's always like funny the first 3 or 4 seconds because you're like, I'm not talking to anyone right now. So I'm just gonna spiel here, and hopefully some people are gonna come online soon. What was I saying? Yeah, I announced this in the community tab not too long ago, all of 12 hours ago. But yeah, I had some feedback that you guys wanted more lives. We had a look at the analytics as well. People are watching the lives, particularly the subscribers. And so I thought, gee, it'd be a good thing if I could come online, shoot the shit with you guys, have a bit of fun, maybe answer a couple of questions as well, give some useful content, but overall just hang out. Going to do it every month. Every month I think sounds good. Perhaps we can look at every fortnight in the future, but given how many clients are coming on board, it's a good problem to have. I thought once a month is a good start. You guys can that way expect at the start of every month I'll come on, answer some questions. And already you got a few people online. Thank you so much for joining me. Hey, I don't know what to say other than just a massive thank you from the bottom of my heart for you saw the video, hopefully the 100K thank you video. So it really does mean the world to me that you've gotten behind the channel the way you have, and that, you know, the Making Yours values of empowerment through growth, self-esteem, and authenticity, that you've resonated with that. So yeah, thank you. It really warms my little heart. Thank you so much. Speaking of which, I'm probably going to change the little banner on the channel, not too much, but just so that it has those values on it. So if you have a problem with that, now would be the time to let me know, because the problem's going to happen soon. Who we got online? Jane says hello from Southern California. Hello, Jane. We've got Denise she's from Southern California as well. I think California lucked out with the time zones. It must be 6 o'clock there now. So it's a pretty good time on a Thursday. In New York, it's 9. If you're up in London, respect any of my UK friends who are online now. You get my new favorite subscriber label. And if you're Aussie on here, let me know as well. It's about lunchtime here in the land down under. Who we got? Lena's from France. My God, Lena, it must be about 3 a.m. in France. Anissa's online. Hello, Anissa. Ayan. Oh my God, there's so many people. Renee's online. Hello, Renee. Renee, you're UK as well, aren't you? Renee, I'm pretty sure we'll put this down. Here we go. Renee, I'm pretty sure you were UK as well. So yeah, congrats on making it online. We got Jamie, Edmonton, Canada. Lisa's online. We got Sonia. Daisy's from North Carolina. Renee says she's Georgia. Are you Georgia, Renee? For some reason, I thought you were UK. Okay. Tiffany's Boston. Gail is also California, Florida. Gosh, I love Florida when I was there. Oh, take me back to Miami. That was a lot of fun. Good evening from Nyack, New York. London. Hey, we got a couple of Londoners on. Hey, mad respect. It's 2 a.m. in London. So if you're online in London, thank you. Hit the like button as well. Don't forget. A few little things. I made some notes so I wouldn't forget to say stuff on this live stream. The first thing is that at the end of the live stream, I'm going to have 2 things for you. Now, one's a bit run-of-the-mill, but it still counts. The second thing is brand new, and this is different to the things that I gave you in the last video, right? 2 new things, mainly one really cool new bonus, but a little cool thing that I'm going to do at the end of the video as well. So stick around to the end. It's going to be about a 45-minute live stream. I don't think there's any way I have so much content, and I thought, the first one, I want to make sure that I, have lots of different ideas and things to talk about, and I can already see we are going to have way too much. New Hampshire is 9:03. What have you been up to, says Cody. Cody, I've had a wonderful morning. Thank you for asking. I've had 2 calls so far. So for those of you in the States or over in Europe or anywhere else in the world where you're watching from, I've had 2 clients this morning. It's 11 a.m. here. And a couple of interesting things just to come out of those calls that I thought I'd share. A little bit later on, I'll share that with you too. Gee, look, that's like 70 people online. Thank you so much for coming online. Let's have a look-see. Okay, so 2 gifts at the end of the video. We're going to do this on the first Thursday, Friday of every month. Now, this is slightly awkward because there's a couple coming up where the last Thursday is different to the first Friday in Australia. And next month is going to be one of those times. So next month is going to be an exception. If you're in the US, it's going to be on the last Thursday of the month. First Friday of the month in Australia. Otherwise, it's always the first Thursday of the month US, first Friday of the month Australia. If those two are different, going to be doing it on Australian time. So there will be another live stream. Lock the date in now, and you're going to choose a topic. Actually, this is the other thing I had to bring up. I want you to choose the topic. On the 31st of this month is going to be the April live stream. Sorry, not the June live stream calendar. The June live stream is actually going to be on the 31st of May if you're in the US. If you're in Europe, Australia, Southeast Asia, it's going to be on the 1st. So just FYI with that. Lock in the 31st if you're in the US. It's not on the 7th as you might expect. Now, topics. The community tab. If you're not in the community tab, I really want to get this going and I want to put more energy into it. So come on board with the community tab. You're going to ask me how to do that, and I don't know how, but I'm pretty sure if you go to the channel, there'll be a community thing you can click on. Get in there, because what I'm going to do and what I need from you now is topics for the next live stream, right? So I thought it'd be really cool if each live stream can be themed, whether it's like flirting, meeting men, long-distance relationships, feminine energy, exclusivity, commitment, sex, whatever it is. I want to kind of theme the live streams so you can kind of know what to expect before coming online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a poll in the community. I'm going to set up a poll in the community section where you can choose. I'll put 4 or 5 options. So what are your options? What would you like to see me talk about in the next live stream? Let me know. Let me know. If not, I'll make some up and put them in the poll. But let me know what options you would think. Veronica says flirting, which is a good one. I think flirting's, that's one that Jamie is particularly good with, the flirting coach there and her prowess. So flirting's a good one. Long distance relationships, I thought that one might come up. Leave your thoughts in the comments of, we got Charm from the Philippines. Hey, bit of random news. I've got a few days in the Philippines. In a few days' time, actually, from about the 11th to the 14th, I'll be in the Philippines. So if you are from the Philippines, let me know, especially if you've got a YouTube channel or something there. As you might have seen in the community tab, I'm going to be working on some collab, funny dating story stuff. Let me know if you're in the Philippines. For those of you who don't know or who aren't from the Philippines, it's actually like the 6th most viewed country on the channel is the Philippines. Who would have thought? So I'll be in Manila for a couple of days. We've got LDRs. We've got flirting. Feminine energy is a suggestion. Roxy says, oh my God, you look so much like my ex. Your ex is a good looking bloke, Roxy. What else we got? We've got fling to long distance. We've got, that's hilarious, Roxy. How do I know when it's time to give up? Clara says, how old are you, Mark? What do you reckon, Clara? How old do I look? No, I'm 30, Clara. Thank you for asking. Old Flames is, Rainey says, commitment. Siobhan says, your channel helps me a lot. Thank you so much. Give your ideas in there. If you have your own idea, even if it's already been suggested, type it in. Because if 6 people say flirting, I'm going to know that's a popular topic. Okay, next order of things I want to say. Talked about the community tab, topics for the next one. First Thursday of every month with the exception of next month because it's a weird changeover. So it's the 31st this month. I got 2 gifts for you at the end. Now, in terms of coaching and asking questions on here, this is probably the one reason that I haven't done as much live coaching is I'm finding that more and more as I coach with clients, we're getting into deeper stuff. And I love to know details. I love to go into situations. I love to find out what's happening. And it's amazing how 2 situations that seem similar on the surface can be completely different once you actually get in there and talk about them. So as you can probably imagine, I get a lot of emails, which is, how do I handle this situation? How do I get my ex back? How do I make this guy like me when he's pulling away? I get a lot of questions like this. Some of them are quite short and some of them are paragraphs like this long. Now, there's pluses and minuses to both these. If it's quite short, it means I have limited information to go off, which usually means I'm going to say, look, to give you the best advice, I need to chat to you. And when I'm chatting one-on-one, it's amazing the intricacies that come out of every different situation. And I can coach so much better because of that. So where I'm getting at here, is a lot of people have asked me, why don't you offer email coaching? Every other coach offers that. Almost every other coach that I know of offers that. This is why, because I don't feel like a coach can do a good job unless they really know the situation. There's certainly general advice, and there's certainly things, the videos give as much broad advice as possible. But to really, when a client wants really specific advice, that's when knowing the situation helps. So short questions aren't very good for that. Long ones are okay. The problem is it takes a good 20 minutes for me to read and process, and then probably as much as 20 minutes to reply. So I have all my clients. I don't actually text my clients at all. We use email occasionally, but all my clients is voicemail. So this is why I haven't done email coaching, is because in a voice message of 60 seconds, you can say 1,000 times more than you can in an email that would take 20 minutes to read. So that, for those of you who have been asking about email coaching, that's why I don't offer it. I want to provide the best service I possibly can for my clients. And that's why I found that I think email coaching just doesn't cut it. I just think email coaching doesn't fully cut it. And so getting back to what I was talking about, one of the reasons that I've been a little bit hesitant to do live is I know some of the questions on here, I won't be able to get as many details as I typically get coaching a client. And I hate that. I want to be able to dive into a situation. This is actually one of the good things about what we're doing with the Academy and the live streams there. At the moment, they're small enough, like there's only 4 or 5 people online, which means the coaching calls, I can actually get them on the screen or get their microphones, and the other 3 or 4 women can listen in. So after this call, there's the Academy webinar, which is, you can check out the Academy. You've probably heard of it, makingyours.com.au/academy. It's my empowerment academy that I'm working on as my book's released. But the webinars in there at the moment are still small enough that people can give details. And so I always find that so much easier, right? Because I can ask questions and get feedback on what's going on in the situation. So I'm gonna see how we go with the Q&As today. I've got a couple in backup as well that I can use, which I think are really good questions that you'll be excited to hear about. If there is enough detail in these questions here, I will do my absolute best to give you the best possible answer I can, given our restrictions of not having voice messaging. Okay, so was there anything else? How you going? Let's read through some of the comments. Oh my God, you guys are so lovely. Look at the comments you've left. Messages retracted. We've got people talking. Hi, Mark. I'm from UK. Look fantastic for your age. Thank you, Anessa. Hi, I remember 35. Hi from Texas. Lily says, if a guy sets up a first date and then sleeps in and misses it, genuinely apologizes with a reason, are you okay to be disappointed? I think you're definitely fair to be disappointed. I mean, you can't invalidate your feelings, Lily. You'd want the guy to be apologetic over it. You'd sort of send him some form of, all right, mister, that's okay, mister. I understand it happens. You can make it up to me with an extra amazing date, whatever, next time. And that way, ball's in your court. You fucked up. You can fix it. This is Bernadette from Michigan's online. Daisy says, can you give me advice on how to keep your relationship stay steady when you're in a long distance relationship? Thank you. This is probably an example of a question where, Daisy's obviously feeling some unsteadiness in her relationship, right? She's obviously feeling like she's a bit unsure where she's at, like stuff's going on. There is so many follow-up questions I'd typically ask Daisy if she was a client. I'd say, what's given you this sense? What's he been doing? What's his characteristics? How long were you together when you were in person? How long have you been apart? I'd want to know whether this was a sudden trend or whether this was a long-term trend. I'd want to know maybe Daisy's background. Have both of them been in relationships before? That'll give me some clues as to sort of their attachment styles, as well as, how pro or anti-commitment they might be. So there's a lot of different factors. Daisy, one thing I'd say is check out the video. It's going really well, that video on making him miss you in a long distance relationship, coming from a really authentic, self-esteem orientated place. That's all the advice in that video is from there. A big thing, Daisy, is you've still got to generate that attraction long distance. And I find when I coach women long distance, a lot of them are thinking about, how do I make this? They spend a lot of their time basically thinking about, how do I make this guy miss me? And it's very relationship focused. And the reality is, when you're long distance, you have to take on more of a single mindset. And that's not to say you're going to be meeting, hooking up, flirting with other men, but it is to say you're very much taking a higher percentage of responsibility for your own emotional fulfillment, happiness, well-being, security than you would be in an in-person relationship. You have less ability to lean on the person long distance. Because you only have small windows of time where you see each other, you want to make those windows positive, and you want to be leaning on each other. You want to be bringing that person into you. You go to him, he's attractive, you're attractive. That's how that attraction maintains. If you get into like needing each other for emotional security and for, each other's happiness as a big chunk of that, you end up leaning on each other, and the calls become very much like trying to make each other chirpy again. They kind of become a negative experience. And when you only have these little windows, you don't want that happening. It just wipes attraction. So that's a little thing you can do there, Daisy, is really make sure you're spending a good chunk of your time when you're not on the phone with him, being the most attractive friggin' woman that you can. Doing what I have one client, this client that was on the call just before I came on here live. She has now, originally, what she was basically doing was going to work and going to church. Those were her two things. She now not only does those two, she does ballroom dancing on a Friday night and has like a full ballroom social event that she goes to every single week. She's doing mixed Brazilian jiu-jitsu, self-defense, confidence, meeting men, and self-defense tends to be very social. So self-defense groups, people who fight together in training are often friends outside of training. So she's benefiting from that. What's the other one? She's doing improv now too. So she's got a whole creative circle and creative people around her. She's doing improv, and she's getting into volunteering as well. So that's an example of, she's single at the moment, but Daisy, that's an example of when you're filling your life up with that sort of stuff, and not even just to meet men because it's stuff that you love. Man, the guy's going to be like, I got to get back to see her. I got to get back to see Daisy. Let's have a read of some more comments. Thank you for coming online. Don't forget to stay to the end. I got a couple of little free gifts. One of them's pretty basic, but the other one's really cool. Brand new, has not been released yet, and it's a little bit sexy, so you're going to like it. Let's have a look. Oh my God, there's so many comments. It's absolutely lovely. Limbo State was a comment. I've had a few clients. It's interesting you say that, Eukalina. I've had a few clients in dating really struggling with uncertainty. To give you an example, one of my clients is a physician, and she's put a lot of her life into making her professional career phenomenal and into her sporting side. Insecurities from when she grew up meant that she focused virtually all of her time on professional and sporting, and relationships and men just kind of came this area that wasn't working for her, and for a long time got pushed off to the side. She began to sort of romanticize it and, think that, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I met that guy, but it's never going to happen. And now she's putting more effort into her dating again with me. The problem that's come up is, and I'm going to talk about this in a video, but it's like, imagine like a speedometer. You know how speedometers do this as the car speeds up, right? Imagine single to a relationship. So it's like single, dating more seriously, exclusive, relationship label, blah. The issue this client is having is because she doesn't have a lot of confidence in the dating scene, she's fine being single initially. She's, living her life. She's got heaps going on. She's got a great career. She's got fitness, phenomenal, right? Like running crazy distances that I can't even fathom. So she's killing it there. And initially, guys love that. So the guys are chasing her, and the needle sort of starts to go up. And then it's like a switch gets flicked. And once that switch is flicked, it's like she enters relationship mode, and it's like, whoop. It's like she goes from 20 to 200 almost overnight, practically overnight. He ticks the boxes. He wants a relationship. He's chasing me. It's like, okay, I got to make this happen. And in almost virtually the identical way that she has kicked butt and made things happen in her professional career, she goes into, I got to make this happen mode. starts chasing, starts basically not qualifying him anymore. And instead of, oh, is this guy all right for me? It's, how do I make this relationship happen? And that flick happens very quickly. She doesn't have the comfort zone of the middle of the needle. She doesn't have the sort of, I like him, he might stay, he might go early in the dating process, and I'll be fine either way. Because she hasn't experienced a lot of that uncertainty in that position, especially when you work in a job as a physician that requires a lot of certainty, you're not used to playing in that sort of early dating uncertain area where it's like, we like each other, but who knows what will end up happening. And so it jumps. And of course, the guy stops chasing because she's chasing and she's no longer qualifying him. The client I had just before this call said something very interesting. This is one of the books. I forget which author. It's one of the books I recommend. And the quote is, you know, there's dangerous men everywhere. There's narcissists. There's players. There's emotionally unavailable guys. There's lots of dangerous men, but the most dangerous one is the one you decide you like. And I thought that was an interesting quote. I hadn't heard it for a while, but it's basically talking about this concept that for a lot of women and for a lot of my clients, and what's happening in this scenario is once she's decided she likes the guy, it's like he can get away with anything. It's like, do I like him? Do I like him? I like him. Eyes closed. How do I make this relationship happen? The quote's very interesting. I found it fascinating because it shows the difference between what everyone's scared of, which is saying, I like you, and being that needy person, versus the other way people go, which is playing games and having to pretend I don't like someone to make them chase. Right? It's going from, I can't, as soon as I like someone, that's dangerous. And so she interpreted this as, okay, I need to hold off liking someone. And that's like going to the other side. It's like, okay, I need to either pretend I don't like him or I need to play hard to get, and that will keep him chasing. And of course, the problem comes in that eventually you need to like each other and you need to be able to say that. And it's completely inauthentic to not like, to say you don't like someone when you do, or to pretend you don't, right? That doesn't work. So how do you do this thing where you can like someone, right, but not be seen as needy and have to go to the other side, which is pretending you don't like them? And so I wanted to do a little edit to this quote. The original quote, I'm just going to bring it up here because I think I said it wrong. The original quote, the most dangerous guy is the guy you decide you like. And that happens a lot because, as I say, for a lot of women, that's the moment where he ticks the boxes. Now I need to make the relationship happen. I like to reframe this because I think it still borders on inauthentic. And I don't like the way that you have to pretend you don't like someone. The most dangerous guy is the guy you close your eyes and decide you like. Okay? The most dangerous guy is the guy you close your eyes and decide you like. And this is the balance. This is the freedom. This is when you communicate in this way, you're going to be high value, you're going to be authentic without being needy. You know, if I say to a woman, yeah, I really like you. Yeah, I'm keen to see you. That's going to come across with a communication like, yes, I like you now and I can be authentic with that, but it doesn't mean I'm going to marry you. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't mess this up next week. If you start treating me with disrespect, you're going to be gone, girl. And it's the same here. It's the ability to say, hey, I do like you now, and that is a genuine, honest, and full-on authentic statement. At the same time, you disrespect me next week, I'm not going to like you next week. It's keeping those eyes open. Let me give you a practical example. Let me give you a practical example from a friend of mine. Two are dating. They're going along really well. Clicking, he's investing, she's investing, they go exclusive. They go exclusive, so good. He introduces her to some family, actually full family. So things going along well, right? And then he gets sick. He gets sick, he had some pain, a lot of pain actually, had to go into hospital. Now, even though he'd done all this investing, they'd only been dating probably about 8 weeks or so. So it was pretty pretty fast. No, this is a friend, not a client. She will not listen to me whatsoever. But this friend, they've been dating about 8 weeks. Things had gone pretty fast, but positive. He'd been investing. The guy gets sick, and she takes a couple of days off work to look after him. Now, they hadn't had a label yet. They were exclusive, but they didn't have a label. So they were kind of like, she's met the family and stuff. There's still more that she wants. She still does want the label, and she still wants this silly life. She still wants this to happen. She still wants a bit more from him. Now, as he got sick, what happened is she took a couple of days off, went over and looked after him, and she was like amazing, right? She was, taking care of him, making food, making breakfast, like being essentially what a wonderful girlfriend would do. Now, it was pretty early to be doing that, but still, it's a super sweet gesture, and it's a bit of a reflection of what the guy can expect when he's in a relationship with her. The issue came up when, because of his pain, he started being rude. He started treating her rudely. I think one night she went to go over there and he sort of said, "Oh, like, are you going to come over? Don't be grumpy." There was another night she was over there, like, taking care of him. And yeah, he was being, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he was basically being rude and unappreciative. And what did she do? She didn't call him out on it. She excused it because he was in pain. And this is an issue because the attraction now, a couple of weeks later, is really struggling with the two of them. And what happened in that scenario was she shut her eyes and said, "I like this guy. This is what I'm going to do." She didn't keep them open. And I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing that she took a day off and went over and helped him. I think fast forward, but they were probably at that stage, and that was what her heart wanted to do. It was a wonderful gesture. The problem came, I'm going to have to plug this in soon. The problem came when he was being rude and she didn't go, "Hey, I'm over here. I'm freaking helping you. I'm doing all this out of my way. If you don't appreciate this, I'm going to get that out." Instead of doing that, she excused it. She said, "Oh, he's in a lot of pain. Like, he's at his worst. The treating me rudely thing it's not great, but I understand why." And I really believe that was the point where she lost a big chunk of his attraction, because it was the part where instead of reassessing based on her current investment, he wasn't reciprocating with huge appreciation for her huge gesture. And instead she excused it, and the attraction did this. I'm going to plug this laptop in. But it's a really important example of why, yes, you can say you like someone, absolutely, and you can be genuine and honest about that, even in early dating. And the way to not be needy about it is not to close your eyes. It's to make sure that you're reassessing, what effort has he done? Is he still appreciating me? Is he still reciprocating in his own way? It's not that he was going to go to hers and look after her necessarily right now. But, if a woman's looking after me in that manner and we're, not even quite together yet, I'm going, wow, this is a huge gesture. And then if I was rude to her, I would expect her to say, "Hey, mate, like, I'm freaking here for you. I'm going way out of my way. I don't care how much pain you're in. You talk to me like that one more time, I'm out." So a good little learning lesson there for you that I thought was interesting that came out of that client call. Let's have a look at some chats. What's going on? I digress there. We've got tips on how to improve communication. Is one topic. Make sure you add a topic for next month's live stream. Will be on the 31st in the US, the 1st in Australia. We have 2 bonuses coming up at the end. One's very little, so don't get too psyched about one. But the other one is really cool. It's sexy, and it's a brand new thing. We just released the first chapter of the book. If you haven't got that, makingmeals.com.au/book. I got another one for you. Another one. I promise. It's going to be great. Okay, let's have a look at some chats. Donna says, "Why play games? Can't we just be real with one another?" Absolutely, Donna. I think that's absolutely, couldn't agree more. It's also important that self-respect is maintained. And as I sort of spoke about in that story, that willingness to walk is maintained if someone's not reciprocating that effort that you're putting back into them. Uh, let me tell if a guy is gay. God, I'm not even going to go there. James says, thank you for explaining the rudeness. I think that's a good comment. I think. Friend zone into a long-term relationship. Clara, this would, and to those watching, this would be another example where I would love to know more details, because with a question like Clara's here, how to move from friend zone to long-term relationship, all I can really talk about is the general advice that I've got in the videos. This is another reason, if you are thinking of coming on board with the academy, the webinars are really small at the moment, so it's a good time to get personal advice. And this is where I'd want to know all different dynamics about this situation. Like, how long have you known this guy? Are you guys more like close buddy friends, or are you more like acquaintances where people have been too shy? Is there polarization there, or are you more competitive? So many different factors that come to answering that question on a proper level of depth. As it stands, the best thing I'd say would be to go and watch the friend zone video. Simple things like making sure you're not being his dating coach, making sure there's a little bit of tension in there is always good. Making sure you're not there at his beck and call, like you're being all buddy with him. You want that polarity to be in place. You want to have that. You want to start to look to build some of that tension. Whether you're hanging out one-on-one, I'm not sure. That's always a good idea if you're not already. It might simply be that you've got to get out of a group environment. Lots of details there that make any more than those answers a little bit tricky. Let's have a look. What else? KC's online, says, Mark, please talk about long-distance relationships. Josie says he's been hurt. Oh, that's a previous question. Guy been blowing hot and cold, at present hot, don't know how to react, I'm crazy about him. I'm going to do a video soon. I think you guys are going to like this one. It's going to be called When a Dating Coach Gets Ghosted. And it's an experience of mine from quite some time ago that I've been sort of just waiting until it was the right time to share. I think I'm going to film it soon. It might not actually be out for a few months after I film it. But it's one thing I was speaking about with a client the other day is this hot and cold thing. And one of the first signs I look for in as a red flag, as sort of something that's wrong, is someone who's very, very warm, very hot when they are with you, and then the text or phone or other consistency just doesn't add up. Again and again with clients, and even with myself, I've seen that people, not just men, but people who are inconsistent in their human to non-human communications, in other words, they're different between their how they act and how they treat you in person versus how they act and how they treat you over text or even over the phone. That seems to consistently be one of the biggest red flags that stuff is going to go wrong. And the hardest part is that these patterns are usually quite addictive. As you can see, Josie says here, what did she say? I'm crazy about him. Okay. I can remember having this done to me and experiencing this pattern. And it was the time that, I'm like, I'm freaking crazy about her. What is this? So these people who are doing this, who are warm when they're with you, cold when they're not, or just super inconsistent, like they say one thing, do another, it's the most addictive pattern. And it's one of the ones that in my experience rarely ends well. You want someone who's consistent in what they say and what they do, even what they do when they're with you and what they do when they're not. And it doesn't have to be, your consistency might be, I like you. I want to keep things casual. And so they text you a couple of times a week. That story adds up, right? That makes sense. You're casual. He's probably seeing other people, but he likes seeing you too. Story adds up. If someone's saying you're amazing, I just can't, the way you make me feel is incredible. I can't get over how good we are together. And then you don't hear from that person for 3 days or 4 days. That's man, that's so inconsistent. And men who are doing this, very rarely ends well. Very rare. And as Josie says, the worst part is they tend to be the ones you obsess over because of this unavailable pattern. So be really, really aware of that, Josie. What other comments have we got? Lots of, wow, so many comments. Thank you for leaving your lovely comments. We've got about 10 minutes left. Charisse says those men are narcissists. They certainly can be, Charisse, and that can be one of the big causes of that. I've got actually a question here. You might find this one interesting because you may have dealt with this. A lot of women deal with this. This question was from Anna. And Anna had a question about what to text a guy in a particular situation. Her question was, wondering, what does it mean when a guy seems into you and you're chatting over text and he says, let me know when you're in my area and we'll hang out. Let me know when you're in my area and then we'll hang out. Anna says, I assume it means he's not interested, but my friends say it could be him being shy and I should give him a chance. What do you think? And what should I respond? Honestly, it could be both. It could be both. And the way to basically split these up is to just have a good witty response. Again, you want standards, you want playful. These are the first level of standards should always be done playfully. If you're going straight to calling him out, especially over text, it's not showing a lot of social awareness and it's not really building any attraction. If anything, it's doing this to it. So a couple of text responses here that I really like, where he says, hey, let me know when you're in my area and we'll hang out. You could respond with, so do I have to be in your area for you to take me out, do I? Boom. Put it right back on him. Another one I like, personally, I think I'm worth hanging out with whether I'm in your area or not. And the little blushing smiley face. Great response. Great responses. You're basically saying, I'm freaking worth, you're kind of raising the bet. You're kind of putting this back on him and saying, actually, I am worth taking out. I am worth taking out whether I'm in your area or not. That's the type of prize that I am. Are you going to acknowledge that? Ball's in your court, sir. I thought that was a great little texting question. Really cool one. Let's see. What else we got? Belinda says, hey, Mark. Vanessa says, hi, Mark. Great to have you on here. Hi, Mark. When is it too soon to sleep with him? I don't want a just sex relationship. We've been dating for a month. Honestly, Amina, this is a huge question, and this is something I've covered a lot on the channel, as you've probably seen the videos before. I hate this idea, and I have one person in particular who disagrees with me on this. I really, and you know me, if you're watching this channel, if you're a subscriber, I do not believe in this idea. If you can have the milk, why would you buy the cow type theory? I hate the way that represents women. It's like, I want the good part of the sex, and oh, now I've got to buy the whole cow and almost take the not wanted part, which is the rest of her. I just it kills me the way that idea represents women, saying the sex is the thing and then you've got to take the rest of the stuff to get the sex. It's just so demeaning. I can't deal with that. So as you'll see, probably best to go and again watch the videos on this topic, Amina, is are you having it for the right reasons? I know lots and lots of women who have slept with a guy on the first date, lost the guy's interest. I know lots of women who have had zero issues with it. Zero. That woman that I was talking to you about before, zero issues. She slept with me the day we met, and I was head over heels. So it is the timing is not relevant. What is relevant is the reasons you're doing it, how attracted he is non-physically, and how you keep applying your standards after the sex. And that's the big one. Because if you're doing it for his validation, he's going to lose attraction. If you're doing it because you want to enjoy some sex and be sexually empowered, fantastic. You're doing it for your own reasons. If the physical attraction is the only thing that's there, it could be a day or a month, and he's likely to get bored afterwards. If the non-physical attraction is there, it's likely to stay. And final point, I won't give you the finger. Final point is if the non-physical attraction changes after sex, it's often because, as we were talking about earlier in the live stream, the blinkers turn off. And a lot of women who go into sex thinking, do I like this guy, come out of sex thinking, how can I keep this guy or how can I make this man my partner? standards change very quickly, and the needle quickly does this. And so that is why men will often lose interest after sex. But there's lots of cool videos on that. I know some of you won't agree with me, which I totally respect and appreciate. I think one of the cool things is having these conversations and getting lots of different people on the channel. So yeah, I really appreciate that. By the way, just a little side note, I like to always ask myself, and I think this is a good thing for you as well, is to say, what if I'm wrong? I think it's easy to hear someone else's opinion on something you don't agree with and kind of dismiss it immediately. I think it's always good to have a what if I'm wrong attitude, because then you can be open to growth, as hard as it can be. And, you might say to yourself, what if I'm wrong? And I've questioned myself a lot on this topic. And so far I've said, no, I'm pretty in line with what I'm saying. I still believe I'm in my thoughts on this one, but I'm always open to hearing other arguments. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about conversation and about the channel is not everyone has to agree. And yeah, if you don't agree, put an opinion forward. I'd love to hear it. Wendy says, I agree. Life says, I agree. Oh, Life's online. Hello, Life. Thank you for coming online. I can't remember if you are UK or not. There's a couple of UKers online. Gee, it must be getting late. It's 2:30 in London right now. So mad respect if you're still online in the UK. Let's have a look. Is there some others that are on here? We've got about a few minutes left, and I'm about to do some pretty cool things, which I'll add to the channel. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate your viewpoint on it. Wendy says, ouch. Let's have a look. Other questions. Virginia, this is a couple-part question. Virginia says, we started as friends with benefits. Now he's withdrawn from that. Okay. And now calls me every day and we hang out. Oh, God, okay. Spend the night, but no intimacy. Go to eat, take trips together. Does he want something more? And if so, how do I get him to talk about it? He throws subtle hits, but doesn't ask me. Again, this is a situation I really feel if I had a lot more details on, I'd be a better coach for you. It's unusual, and that's one of the reasons I want more details. We started as friends with benefits. Now he's withdrawn from sex, calls me every day, and we hang out. That is very unusual. Spend the night, but no intimacy. I'd definitely be calling him on it. It's almost like he either got insecure or it's like an STI came up, or possibly he started exclusively sleeping with someone else, but that was it. She just said to him, hey, I want you to only be sleeping with me. And he's like, okay. So he just only sleeps with her, but does everything else with you. I'd be calling him on it, and I'd be saying, okay, so this is super weird. Like, it's cool if you don't want to have sex, but like, it's real random that you went from sex without the talk without the sex. Like, that's pretty unusual for a guy. What's the go there? And get his answers. I'd literally be doing that. Yeah. Okay. What else we got? Brazil is online. Thais? I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name. It's from Brazil. Okay. Where I noticed it might be with a Courtney says, I noticed I might be working with a new coworker. I fancy him. He said it would be great working together. That is him just wanting to get to work, really. If he's at a new job, he's not going to want to mess things up immediately. So he may be saying, no, I'm looking forward to working together. Or he might be saying more and he's just not wanting to like ruffle feathers at his new job. So Courtney, the cool thing about working with someone is you have time to suss it out. You have time to have office jokes, and then, you have a few weeks to get him at the office lunch or something and have chats to him or ask him to a drink after work. Or there's no rush with these office ones, and he's going to be worried about losing his job straight off the bat. So yeah, make sure you, I wouldn't worry too much about what he said. Take it slow. And enjoy it. The live chat is awesome. We're just about to wrap up, but I am going to be live on the Academy. I'm going to go back to my standing desk. I really hope this doesn't interrupt. Yes, we're okay. I like my standing desk. I do a lot of my client calls standing. So yeah, I'm about to head on to the Academy. So if you are a foundation member of the Academy, or if you want